welcome to my studio. In the next while, I'm going to be going through some of my favorite tools, some of my favorite materials. Every artist has got things that they love to work with, things that they discovered a long time ago, or maybe something that they're excited about because they just discovered it and they're using it in their work more than they used to, perhaps. So what I'm going to do is do a series of short videos, just kind of sharing with you some of my old tricks and maybe some that I've more recently discovered. I find that materials really influence the way that I paint. Sometimes I'm looking to paint a certain way and I search for the tool or the material. Sometimes I'm experimenting with tools and materials and I realize, oh, it's opening up a new way for me to work. So we're going to talk about that as I create these videos over the next while. Today we're going to start with a roller. I'm going to do a demo on a long canvas. I won't be able to fit it all in the frame of my camera once I'm working on the table. But this is, I think this is 18 inches by 4 feet, 48 inches. And I really like this long, thin format to create oceanscapes, which is something that I love to do. I live on the ocean, and I find that getting the first layers of paint down with a roller is kind of quick and it keeps things loose. So I'm going to start with some paint on a parchment palette. I really like doing this because it's just a quick way to work. I'll wet my paper towel here to keep the paint a little bit damp, not soaking wet, and place my parchment paper on top of it. And this is the kind of roller I'm using. It's just something you can get in the paint store. Very inexpensive. So let's start with a layer of phthalocyanine blue. Phthalo blue. And this is a fluid Liquitex. It's not really a fluid, it's called a soft body. It's somewhere between a fluid and a heavy body paint. I really like this new form that Liquitex is making. I'm going to add a little water to it, and I'll also spread the paint really evenly so that when I apply it on the roller, it's going to apply evenly on the roller. So this is actually really, really liquid now. And then we'll just load up the roller. So you want the paint to really coat the roller evenly. And then we can apply it to the canvas. I'm going to have to load it up again because a fair amount actually soaks right into the roller. But I really like the way that rollers kind of take control away from these first stages, these first steps. I don't like to get too fussy. I do work a lot in semi-abstract. These days, a lot of semi-abstract landscape. So this kind of suits the way that I'm working. So I was talking before about finding the tools that are going to facilitate the kind of work that you want to make. And rollers really do that for me because I'm trying to keep things open and moving towards abstraction. Another thing I like to do when I'm working this way is sometimes give it a light spray and take my paper towel and just create another kind of way of interacting with paint on the canvas. And especially since this is going to become a horizontal seascape, this kind of helps build these layers of horizontality that we get in landscape. So very quickly, I've got a really, really interesting undersurface here. Now, I can dry this and do more quick layers over top and create some really interesting and quick effects with glazing. Now, meanwhile, you want to keep your roller damp. So you can just wrap it in some saran wrap or a plastic bag, or I could rinse it out. But if I know I'm going to come back to blue, I'll just keep this one damp, and I'll grab another roller to create another color to use with another color for the next layer. The next color I'm going to use is quinacridone magenta. So I'm basically going to use 3 primaries. The phthalo blue, quinacridone magenta, and the next one will be quinacridone gold. So let's have a look. I've used heavy body paint here, and although it's not as creamy as the soft body, we can still add some water, or we could use a medium if you wanted to have your medium as your additive rather than water. A medium like a matte medium or a glazing medium. So it's still, we can still dilute that down so that it will work with the roller. So here's my new roller. And let's see what happens when we put some of this on our canvas. Not surprisingly, we get some purples. So we're getting a secondary mix here. It's a little brighter in reality than it's showing in the video here. If you get a little bit of an uneven application on the roller, you'll get these kind of spotted areas. I kind of like those. But if you want to get a really, really consistent layer, then you have to make sure that it's mixed very consistently on your palette. This time I'll thin down with some medium, just to compare it with how that feels compared to water. You should get a more consistent mix with a medium versus water, because the medium is just simply the matrix that the acrylic paint is in. So it's kind of like the base of the acrylic paint without pigment in it. So it mixes very well. So let's try that. So that's quite a bit of a heavier layer. So my roller's got a squeak. I don't know why. I got a little irregularity in the application of the blue there, which is kind of great. It's like maybe will be a place where the sun is in the landscape. Okay, let's spray and lift here too. This time I'm going to use a fluid acrylic, golden fluid, quinacridone nickel azo gold. Now this shouldn't need a lot of thinning down because it's already so fluid. Let's see what it does with the underpainting that we have. Now I'm placing this down mainly kind of in the middle of the canvas because this might be where I could build some layers of land. So as it interacts with the blue, it's creating green, and then a neutral color where it's interacting with both the pink and blue. And each layer just makes it richer and richer. I'm not sure where my islands are going to be placed. I'll refer to some study photographs. And maybe in the coming sessions, I'll work through this seascape and share some of my other favorite tools and materials that I use when I'm doing this kind of a painting. But I want to show you another way that I like to use rollers. Here are a couple of seascapes that started in this way. Here's another long thin canvas. This is 12 by 36 and I worked on it vertically. I thought of it as a waterfall when I was making it, and there are parts that I like and parts that I don't like, but mainly I just kind of feel stuck with it. What I like to do with a painting like this is to kind of break back into it in a way that still keeps me loose and open without creating too much of a plan. And I find rollers really help with that. So I'm going to load up my roller with maybe a light neutral and start just interacting with this painting. This is kind of part of what I sometimes call creative destruction, where I'll go into a painting that I've been working on and just do something wild, a big move, you know, to kind of crack it open and see if I can take it to another place. So let's see what we can do with the roller. So I've loaded up my roller with a gray that I've made from white, titanium white, a bit of Titan buff, a tiny bit of phthalo blue, and some Payne's gray. Here's what the palette looks like. And then I just kind of start breaking in and covering up some of the activity. I've still got this sense of maybe a waterfall, which is maybe would be better to work out on the easel and keep it vertical. But just wanted to show you how we can make some really big changes really quickly. And now I've got some different spaces to work in. And so this is where I took it with that layer, with the roller. Not sure where it's going, but it feels simpler and a little fresher. When you want to clean your roller, if you want to use it again, just try to get as much paint as you can off of it on a newspaper or a paper towel. You can see there's a little bit of quinacridone gold still in this. Because I use the same roller. And then it's easier to rinse out if you want to rinse it out and use it again.